Okay, so today I am working on a shop sample for a local quilt shop with some new fabrics that just arrived. And we decided to do a door hanger. So this is using Sunshine and Blue Skies from Create Joy Project. It has this beautiful panel scene, but it's running yardage. So it's not like a panel that's a 1 yard cut and then has to be cut on the dotted line. Instead, it is a full running yardage, starts at the sun, works its way through the sky. I see mountains, see the grass, works its way into the water, and then it even has, I think, they're little fishes and kelps. So as a team, me, my boss, and a co-worker, we decided that we'll use a chunk of the running yardage. They paired this blue off of our color wall. And then I'm using a charm pack. I did break it down. I took out I like the multicolors personally. And so I took out the ones that are just the one tone. Some of them had doubles. You can see there. What else had? Either way. And then I used the blue and I created matching 5-inch squares to pair with the 5-inch squares I kept. I'm going to end up doing the 2 at a time 4 patches. So I'll take my background, I'll take my charm, I'll stitch twice, and then I'll cut. And I'm going to do that to all of them in pairs. And we'll be back. Alright, so I did want to record this just in case some do or don't, or we all do things differently, and we've all learned differently, and I like taking bits and pieces from everything that I've learned from others and just kind of combine them and make them my own way. So heat pressing. I do have all my pairs stitched and stitched. So heat pressing, you just lay it on those seams. And that'll be before I slice, I open, and then I would press to the dark. So if I did this to all of them, and I'll stop real quick and just show you. And if you have a Martelli dealer, I highly, highly recommend one of these spins. Right? It has a non-slid. Then it has your cutting. And then it has your pressing. And they all just stack. And I could have put that under there to go ahead and cut. And I do apologize if you hear a cat or a kid, because both of them are peeking under the door. The joys of doing this from home. So it's a 5-inch square. I am going to cut it in half, which this ruler has that half line. I'm going to go 1, 2, and a half. And I know that that's the half because it is a 5-inch square. So once I did that to all of them, then, and I would do it all at once. I'm a chain piecer type of sewist. I would press them all. I would slice them all. And then I would come back and press them all to the dark side at once. And just like that. And you could even stack 1 or 2 at a time. Get the next one going. If I had them cut, I could just keep going across the board. I do not have a clapper. They are cool looking. I do see lots of quilters with them. I've never really run into a problem just yet where I feel I need to get one at this moment. I'm going to go ahead and do a second one real quick while I'm here, because the 2 at a time 4-patch, I'm going to show you 2 different end results, because I'm going to flip and flop mine. I'm not going to have them be identical pairs. So while I'm here, I might as well do that. So some would leave the same 2 together, and then you're going to stitch, stitch, cut again, and your end result would be a paired 4-patch. And by pairs, that's what I mean. These 2 are the same and these 2 are the same. What I'm actually going to do for this project is mix and match all of mine. So I'm going to take like a dark and a medium, or a dark and a light. Come in, fill your seams. I am a pinner, or I don't really clip much because they're heavy. I am a pinner. So I would pin there and I would pin there. And then after I've stitched and stitched and after I've cut, my end result will be an alternating mixed matched 4-patch. So all my 4-patches are going to be relatively different. In this case, I will always end up with a matching pair because it's 2 at a time. Ha ha ha. So I will be very mindful that I won't match these 2 again, because 2 is enough. I don't want 4 pairs in there. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to show I've made my pairs. I have them stacked on a ruler so I can transport them to my sewing machine. So here you'll see that they do nest. Earlier I mentioned pressed to the dark. Well, some of them are light, so I guess I should have said press to the print in this case. Or if your background would have been much darker, then of course, you know, you could have went that way too. So like I said earlier, I am a pinner. So if you're not familiar with nesting your seams, you can see where the 2 pressed sides go together, and then you can just pin. And since I'm going to be stitching on both sides, I'm going to do that on both sides. Please don't mind that my current seams are not perfect. When you get a charm pack, sometimes their edges are pinked. And when they are, it's hard to match them up to a block that you've cut at supposedly the same size. So when I went to sew these, when I put the charm, let's pretend here. When I had the charm and then I had the one that I made, I put mine on top. And when I sewed, I used mine as the 1/4 inch here and here. Because again, when you have a pre-cut, you're never sure if you're supposed to measure from the inside of the dip or the outside. And different companies cut them differently. So you can see here, it's a super fine tooth. But if you look at this one from a different company, it's actually a wider tooth. So I don't like to trim charm packs because it's messy. And it's always so hard to figure out which one is the correct measurement. So like I said, if I would have went this way, I can't see the one I cut. So I put the one I cut on top, and then I used mine as the quarter seam, which is why here you'll notice it's not a clean edge, which I'm okay with because now it's going into my new seam. But anyways, I just wanted to show real quick, I do pin my nested seams. So I have pressed down the other two sides, here and here, and I'm going to sit here and set those seams. And I wanted to show you the next step and check our measurements, all that fun stuff. So we are still at 5 across. So our cut down the center is still going to be the 2.5 inch. Try to get you centered here. I'm going to do this to all of them. And then I do want to show you some pressing. On these, I am going to press with the center spun open, kind of. I don't know if it's split open, spun open. It's not like a 6 or 8 where it creates that little round. I don't even know what they're called, to be honest. But I wanted to show you while I was doing it, instead of just skipping over. I guess that's the fun of the videos, right? You actually get to see the steps. Maybe the point of the videos. So here, one could press to the side. I don't like this bulk, to be honest. So what I'm doing on mine is I'm popping that open. Pressing that across. And now all of my seams are pressed to the left and they spin around. I will do that to all of my 4 patches. Sometimes you have to get out your seam ripper and pop one right there in the center. Most of the time we should be pretty good. So you'll now see the super cute little 4 patch. I have done a huge pile of them already. Then we go ahead and measure. Hopefully, if all goes well, we should be at 4.5. Yes, we are. And if we brought out that 1/2 inch side. So, if we wanted to, we could come in here after getting them all split, clean them up a little bit, get them to all be 4.5. What I'm going to do for the project is I'm actually going to alternate 4 patches running along the side of the running yardage print. So my goal is to do this. So I will take all my 4 patch pairs, all the ones that are identical. I am going to split them into 2 piles so that one pile runs on the left side and one pile runs on the right side. Can't have 2 of the same in the same strip. Now that I've also pressed them all, like that, they are always going to nest on the next 4 patch above them or below them, which is very helpful in the end. So same here, come up, it's gonna nest. I will have to be mindful. To me, that would bother me. But I could just do that. And then that would bother me. So it's going to be a few minutes while I sit here and play with all the different pieces. Maybe that'll work. I am trying, because all of this is just impromptu. Nothing had a pattern. I was just trying to use what I had, which was the charm pack. And the 1/2 yard of the blue. So my goal is to do 11 4 patches on each side, which should bring us to 44. And if that is too much, so this is telling me that it's 44 after trimming off the selvage. So 11 4 patches is 44 inches. 11 4-inch 4 patches. Math is not my friend. So we'll go ahead and put 11 down each side. But before I finish connecting them, I will double check this across the top, which should be at 18, because I had 1/2 yard. 18 divided by 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Not gonna work. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will not run 4 across. What it would have to do is I'll have to trim to where I can get 4 of these guys across the top. So either way, I'm going to build 11 and then build 11, double check all my measurements, build 4 patches for the tops and the bottoms, double check my measurements, and then trim if needed. And that way my final result will be the running yardage flanked all the way around in a 4 patch border. So here I have changed my mind a little bit. And you'll notice that when I put the 4 patches together, I put the dark blues on the outsides. And I put darkers. And then I put the lighters on the insides. And instead of having it touch the panel directly, like originally thought out to be, my boss had actually mentioned to separate it with the border first, and I didn't think I had enough fabric, so I wasn't going to do this. But upon measuring and calculating and all the fun mathing of quilting, I am going to be able to not grow or lose any space by doing a 1-inch sashing. Because it'll take up the 1/2 inch and then the 1/2 inch again. So it'd end up the same. So, I'm going to go ahead and add the blue to the 4 patch strips, which are now 11 by, and then trim the width of the panel from that 18 to that 16 so that I can run the 4 patches across the top. Alrighty, so I have worked 4 patches all the way around. I have that little 1/2 inch of the background to separate it. And I'm hoping to get it quilted up. So I normally free motion quilt my quilts, but on something like this, if it was mine for here at home, I would be honest, I would come in, I would change my thread colors. I would, for example, follow my greens in the darks and go back in with some lights. I would get the coppers, I would follow that, and then I would come in with the lighter. And then again, the lighter on the yellow. I would work from the darkest of that color to the lightest of that color to bring the artwork alive to me. Like, I bring it forward. I use the artwork of the fabric in my free motion. So I would create the dark of the mountain and then come back in with the lighter. Even with the sky here, that periwinkle, and then come in with that lighter where it looks almost white. I would just play with threads. I would roll a couple of different threads across there. Here's fun. I would have fun with these. I would follow it. I'd make the circles and swirls and leave some of them as just a circle. But it's going to my local quilt shop. And I do not work there every day. And sometimes when I make samples with that much detail, customers that come in ask questions, and some of the ladies can't tell them what I did because I'm the one that did it. And so what I'm thinking for this one, maybe just straight stitch, maybe just echo. I think a cross hatch would be too much. I don't know yet. I might have to take it in as is and see what the boss and the coworker and what their thoughts, because it is going to hang at the shop. We did get the collection in for the sunshine and blue skies. So I don't know. A part of me wants to just go on through, right, and then cross hatch these. I just don't know with this being so large. I could stitch in the ditch here. I could possibly echo about 1/4 inch on that. I just don't want to take away from the panel. But we'll see. I'll probably end up getting their opinions. But for now, this is done. Thank you so much for watching the video. After I stop talking, I will put a full picture of it up on the design wall so that you can see the full thing. It is coming out at 24.5 by 24.5 by 52, which hangs right on a door or on a hallway that has like maybe a space between 2 doors, or I have a feeling it's going to go on the office door. We do like to rotate things on that. Well, thanks again so much. Working with running yardage of a print per se. So it's not really a panel because it didn't have cutting lines, but running yardage of that, a charm pack, and then I had a 1/2 yard of my background, which gave me enough squares to pair my charms and 1 inch border. Well, inner border. And that's all she wrote. Thanks again.